with me today. So this is my first having actually a tattoo artist, but he's not only done some really brilliant tattoos, he also has done some stunningly beautiful sketch art. And I just love all the work that he's done. He's done a lot of beautiful sketches of celebrity sketches as well as sketches for other people, portraits. So he's here with me today from Johannesburg, South Africa, and he has a very special, inspiring story to tell. So actually it was another artist I had interviewed earlier in the year, Charlene Mueller, who referred me to him, and she just thought that I'd love his art, and so I did a little investigation on my own, and I really did. But I also liked his story, which I really didn't know his story until after we agreed to do the interview. And so he's a multi-talented as an artist, but he also plays the guitar as well. So he's got a lot of talents going on. So without further delay, I want to bring out today Daniel de Klerk from Johannesburg, South Africa. So Daniel, say hello so I know you're still with me.
Hey Tamarah, and guys out there on YouTube and everybody supporting us, just want to say hi, and we're live.
That's right. I really I do mean that from the bottom of my heart, Daniel, when I say you have a beautiful talent. You really do, and your work is just amazing. And you know, I always like to ask talented people and artists especially where they think they get their talent from, because sometimes people just come out of families that had no history of art. And I wanted you to talk a little bit, where do you think you got your talent from? Were there other artists in your family, or?
Well, Tamarah, thank you so much for that compliment. I would say my father was very creative in a sense, my mom as well, but I think I got my artisticness more from my sister. She actually inspired a lot of my work, like growing up. Her name is Anne. She's my second oldest sister. And yeah, she's actually, you know, I was like 5 years or 6 years when I saw some of her sketches, and it just like, it intrigued me to also do the same thing and the kind of message that it relayed. And yeah, that's actually how I got inspired with art and followed my dream.
Yeah. Now, did your parents do any, did they publicize any art?
You there a bit? Can you just can you repeat your question?
Did your sister did the art, so did she, as an artist, does she still do a lot of art, or?
She's actually evolved the skills to a different level. She actually does web designing and things like that. So she's taken her art skills to a much different level, where she's actually designing things on PC. So yeah, basically that's it.
Okay. Are you still plugged into the computer, Daniel?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it just got a little louder, so I didn't know if you had got unplugged or not. Well, I know you play the guitar too for fun. Have you done that as a child as well, or?
Actually, no. That's also my sisters as well. Once again, they actually inspired the whole thing about the guitar, and also the thing about playing guitar is like, you know, music in general. Like a lot of people that I've heard, they say music is art. So I could never actually understand why they say music is art. I couldn't understand the connection there until I've actually started like playing instruments, and I could understand the flow of your human spirit with your instrument that creates something to someone else. And that's how I actually got to understand why music in a sense is art. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I know that you did your first tattoo, you said you had gotten when you were about 13. What was that tattoo, and because that's pretty, to me it's a pretty young age to get a tattoo. What was the inspiration that got you wanting a tattoo?
Well, I was a rebel from a very young age. So I was like exposed to a lot of wrong things from a very young age, which was a bad thing, but also a good thing. It's taught me a lot of valuable lessons in life and set my life into a course that I know I want to do this. I actually had a friend in grade 8 that rocked up at school with a little 4-leaf clover on his arm, and I was like, dude, that looks sick. I also want to get one. And it's very same week I actually went to the tattoo parlor. And yeah, that's where I decided to get a rose. I love roses. I still love roses. I love drawing them. I love tattooing them. It's just the elegance of the rose and how it exists. So that really intrigued me, and that's why I got my first little small rose. That's how it started.
And where did you get it? Where did you say you got it? Because you were getting garbly.
I got it on my arm.
Your arm?
On my left top arm. I can't take my shirt off right now. I'm covered with tattoos, so you won't really see it. But yeah, I still have it. I've refused to cover it up. You know, it's just got a sentimental value to me. It was my very first tattoo. It was basically the thing that got me into that direction of tattooing and art, and, like, you know, pursuing my passion for art and, you know, what it does for other people in expression.
Right. Well, do me a favor, Daniel. Make sure your little plug hasn't come out of the computer a little bit.
It's in.
Is it in? Okay.
Yeah, it's connected to it.
Okay. All right. We're good. All right. So that one was sentimental, and you did that because you were a little bit of a rebel. Well, I can relate to that. I know. But what I wanted to ask you also that I had read that your very first sketch was, you did a sketch of Jesus, and I wish I had that here. It was Jesus in the crucifixion. And what do you remember about why you chose, what made you draw Jesus in the crucifixion? I mean, what inspired you to do that? Because that was your first sketch.
Absolutely. That's actually a very good question. That's actually also one of the things that got me hooked into art. You know, the thing about doing Jesus and with his crucifixion is, you know, there was a lot of emotion and pain and suffering to express in one picture. And I was 6 years old when I sketched my first crucifixion concept. And for some reason, I could relate to the emotion of the whole concept and the picture that it gave forth. And when I did the sketch, I showed my parents, and they were actually very impressed with the outcome of it. And I think that also kind of pushed me in that direction and motivated me more to follow that because of their reaction towards what I have created or recreated, if you want to put it in those terms. So
yeah. Well, because that was actually a beautiful sketch that you did. You know, now, did you ever duplicate that as a tattoo?
Not the crucifixion itself, but I have done a lot of Jesus portraits in the past, crosses and things like that. But not an actual concept of the crucifixion with the background and the cross and Jesus and all the elements that tells a story that needs to tell in that picture itself.
Yeah.
But just to add to that, Tamarah, the picture that you see on the portfolio, that's a new concept that I came up with. Obviously, I was 6 years old when I sketched my first one, so that got lost through the years. So I actually did that sketch for my sister that's actually been supporting me quite a lot with my art, and she was there during my period in prison and also supporting me there. So yeah, I did that picture for her just to say thank you in a sense. So yeah, that's how I came up with that concept, and that's hers now, the one and only. Like that.
Well, do you think that most people, when they get a tattoo, most of your customers, are they typically coming to get a tattoo that is there a story behind it, or is some of them just doing it strictly for the art, or do you find that most people have some kind of meaning behind it, a story that why they want to get that particular tattoo?
Well, I know back in the days when I started out tattooing, most people just did it for the sake of getting a tattoo, to say you got a tattoo, nonetheless what it should be. But tattooing has actually evolved quite a bit. It's become a very, very technical art form, and most tattoo artists won't just, like myself, I won't just tattoo something on someone if it doesn't have a specific meaning or connection to that person to express that person's spirit or being or character in a sense. So yeah, there's a lot of consultation going on before we start doing it, actually.
That's good, because I'm going to ask you a little bit more, have you walked people through the whole process, but was that when you did that first sketch back, you know, with Jesus, I know you said your parents noticed it, but is that pretty much the point? Did you start doing a lot of art after that? Did people really start, was that the breakthrough where people really started noticing that you had some real talent?
I think so. And that's also, I think that's a point where I also, like, I could see I've got some sort of skill, and I was very raw back then. Obviously, I had to, like, evolve the skill, but definitely people saw that, you know, there is some sort of skill to the form. I mean, when I was in primary school, most of the times the kids were doing their homework or whatever, I was busy drawing. That's the thing that just got me going. That's the thing that charged me positive. And also, it's just the thing about how people react to the art, or not just art in a sense, anything that you create in a sense. If you create something and how people react to that and how they relate to that, you know, it makes you feel special in a sense, because you're giving them something in a way that they didn't have themselves or couldn't get themselves or create themselves. So yeah, something like that.
Well, I think it has changed. The tattoos just, you know, used to you just, I know when I was a kid, we thought of just truck drivers. You know, you saw a tattoo on a truck driver, you know, or, you know, your local mechanic. Yeah. and now everybody, you know, everybody gets tattoos, and it's come to be such an art. It's not anything like it used to be. You know, absolutely. So now, yeah, go ahead.
I totally agree with that. You know, tattooing, look, I've done paintings and airbrushing and sketching and things like that. But tattooing has been so far the most challenging style of art in a sense, because you're working with live flesh as your canvas. You know, so it makes it very technical, working on a canvas that moves around. It's got different textures. It heals up differently. It responds differently to pigmentations being put into the skin. So it's a very challenging art form, and I think I enjoy that. You know, it's a good challenge for me. So I want to be able to do it. But it's always a challenge. Like I say, everybody is different when it comes to tattooing and how they react to tattoos. So, you know, in a way, it's also like a medical profession. It's not just putting ink into someone. You know, you need to know how the skin's going to react to certain pigmentations and to certain environments and where they get it done. So there's a lot of pros and cons to tattooing. You know, instead of just putting a pencil on paper. Are you still with me, Tamarah?
Yeah, you getting garbly, so I was testing my little thing.
Okay, I don't know why it is doing that, but it seems fine on my side.
You sound better now, so I unplugged myself and plugged it back in. So okay. Sometimes you have to do that.
Or throw the laptop across the room. It also works.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
Okay. Well, I wanted to ask you this, because I know you went through a lot. There was a period where you went through some turmoil in your life, and I read in your bio that you just, some relationship stuff, and you went on a downward spiral sort of, and you ended up behind bars, and yet you got out and you started you know, doing art again. I want you to tell a little bit about that story, because I know before all that happened, you were just trying to get started as an artist, and you didn't have the tools. So tell a little bit about that time and how you started like that.
I would say restarted, because before I ended up in bars, I kind of thought I had everything in line and got everything going for me. And you know what? Sometimes life just throws you a curveball and you have to swallow it. It's a bit hard. So yeah, I went through a bit of a hard time and I kind of lost my mind a bit, being a crazy person as I am. I'm trying to contain myself. But yeah, so I went through a bit of a hard time, and I'm not going to go into details what happened there. But yeah, I found myself doing 14 months behind bars. So in a way, back then it was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening to me. But today, when I look back at it, I think that could have been one of the best things that could actually have happened to me. It's one of the best lessons I've learned in my whole life experience. It was really tough. It was hard. And there I got to see like the truth of things. You get to appreciate small things like toilet paper and just a plate and a fork. A glass of water. You appreciate things like it so much more. And then I got to think like this. There's so many things on the outside. So many people are taking for granted. And this is actually what it could be like for everybody if it wasn't for society, as we know. So yeah, so I ended up there, and I was down and out, and didn't know. I was expecting like 10 or 15 years, but also the magistrate that I worked with, he was very understanding of my situation, and I explained him the situation. I mean, I used to do portrait sketches in prison, and show it to the magistrate and trying to show him, what, this is what I do. I'm not what you think I am, but this is actually what I do. I mean, this is a big misunderstanding. And yeah, so anyway, I still got found guilty on the case and got sentenced. But while being in prison, I had to find a way of survival. In there, it's like a jungle. It's a madhouse, and I'm sure a lot of people that's been there can relate to that. People that hasn't been there, it's worse than the army, if you want to put it that way. So I had to find a way of survival there between the gangs and stuff. And sketching was one of the things that kept me very positive behind there. So I did a lot of sketches. Every day I sketched just to get the time passed and not to mix with the wrong type of people. And, a lot of people noticed my art skills and obviously the tattoos that I have on my body. So, between all the gang members and stuff like we have here in South Africa, there was one guy by the name of Shane Ramsey. He actually became a very good friend of mine. He was also a very high rank in the gang members. And he actually took me under his wing, and he was very open with me. He told me, like, you know what, kid, you got skill, man. You can make it big. What are you doing inside of prison? What are you doing here? Whatever. So anyway, he took me under his wing, and we kind of got all the stuff in there to do the tattooing and stuff. And by doing the tattooing, we managed to survive. And obviously between gang members, tattooing is like a prime thing. And that's actually one of the main things that's kept me safe through my journey in prison and got me a lot of respect from, high-ranked people in the gangs as such. And, at the end of the day, although they are there for whatever crime they did, they are just people themselves. We all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect, and nobody will ever be perfect. So, you get to see a whole different side of judgment in that situation. So that's also gave me a lot of value how to analyze people and things and situations in life and value it for what it truly is.
Right. I'm sure you learned a lot about yourself in there. And so that sounds like to me that while you were in jail, that was when you did most of your sketch work got started.
Yeah, that's actually how it got started. I mean, once again, my sister Anne, I did the sketches inside, and she posted it on Facebook, and I got a couple of orders in. So I did the sketches in prison and sending them out to whoever ordered them, and they used to do like a transfer, which we call money market inside there, so we can get some cash in there. Although it's not allowed there, but it's just one of those things that does happen there, and you need some sort of source to survive there, So it's between money and cigarettes. So I had to find a way to survive. So that was the stepping stone to survival in there, basically, was sketching.
Right. Well, I love I wish I don't have, now I've got Marilyn Monroe here, Did you do?
Favorite.
Yeah, I love her, but I also love the Joker that you did, the Joker, and
Absolutely.
Sylvester Stallone. So I'm gonna have all those in my blog. When I put the replay of this in the blog, I'll put those too, because I love your celebrity sketch art is just fabulous. I mean,
Thank you so much. It means a
yeah.
lot. I sketch him because I know it will have a huge impact on people, because a lot of people are like Marilyn Monroe or Marilyn Manson, as you can see, or Elvis Presley or Pink or whoever it might be, So
Yeah. And this is the Wolverine, right? This is.
Yeah, that's a movie. I've done the sketch. That was a one session tattoo that we did there. It actually needs a bit of touch ups with the softness of the shading and a bit of the background in that. But it was genuinely first a sketch, and then one of my very, very good friends, Theo Cook, he's actually joined me on my journey now, and he came in and he was like, you know what, dude, I love this picture. Let's do it on me. So we sat like 4.5 hours doing that in one session, trying to get as much done as possible. And the poor guy went through so much pain. But you know what? I tip my hat to him, because he's one of the few people that can really sit for a big piece of art on skin.
Yeah. Well, it's just beautiful, and I know it's totally different on tattoo versus skin, but I wanted to ask you too, because I'm big on people being inspired. What would you say was the biggest thing that you took home with you when you did get out of jail? What would you say was I don't know, the breakthrough moment or whatever that you took out of there with you?
I would say the biggest thing that I took out there is like understanding yourself and trusting yourself, believing in yourself in a sense. In the outside world, you get manipulated by people very quickly, and you end up going the wrong direction very quickly. Inside there, it's a different story. So you kind of learn to like have your boundaries, but still have friends. And so at the end of the day, I just got to know myself a bit better and who I am and the way I react to things. And obviously, just definitely to believe in yourself at the end of the day and stay true to who you are. That's a thing. When I went in there, a lot of people were like, oh, this guy's drawing. They think they call it in their language, Mampara or Abari. But I just stuck with my pencils and did what I had to do. And at the end of the day, I came out on the top. I mean, I walked out there with a lot of respect. Some of the guys in there didn't even want me to go, and I was like, guys, my time here is finished. I've done what I had to do, and it's time for me for the outside life now to fulfill my destiny. So at the end of the day, you just need to be strong, stay true. I always say, stay true to yourself. It's not easy. I know it's difficult. But you're gonna have to bite the bullet and just go for what you want. It's not easy. I know it's not easy.
Yeah. Well, now don't you have a little girl? Do you have a little daughter?
I do have a little girl. Her name is Inika. Her name is Inika. Yeah, Inika. She's 6 years old. She is actually one of the biggest things that kept me going through everything I've been through. I love her to bits. Absolutely, she is really my heart's point, and I would sacrifice anything for her. I would really do the worst things if possible, if need be, just to protect her. But in a sense, all the things I've been through in life, and I've been around the block more than once. I'm glad for it. I've been through a lot of shit. Sorry for saying that. I don't know if you really like to swear. But I mean, I'm glad I've been through that, because at the end of the day, when she gets to that age, I'll be able to see the signs and be able to give her advice on how to act or react towards a situation. So I mean, she's absolutely she's the light in my life. Absolutely, no doubt.
Is she showing any interest in the art at all?
She does. You can't see it now, but on the side of the studio, she's got some of the sketches that she's been doing. And yeah, I can't show you now. It's against the wall there. Unless I can walk with a laptop. Try that.
Okay.
Let's try that. Let's see how it works out. Let's check that. Yeah, there we go. There's some of the sketches there. And it goes all the way down. So yeah, and she has tattooed as well, not on me as well, but I mean, I've actually put a video clip on Facebook where she started tattooing on like a rubber skin, and you know, it makes me happy. Obviously, it will make me happy because you know it would be like she's following her dad's footsteps. It's a tough trade. I mean, if she can do something else, I would say do that. But I mean, if it's in her and she wants to pursue it, I would absolutely stand by 100%, no doubt about it.
Oh yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you because I know the skull has become such an icon in fashion now, and it used to be kind of something. It takes on different meanings. It's not really something morbid or sacrilegious or anything. In fact, I was reading recently that its initial interpretation was death, but it's actually seen as a lasting image of a man's mortality. Does it have a special meaning to you? Because you see it a lot in tattoos, and I don't know if you do it a lot in your tattoos, but it's
the skulls. Look, from a young age, I enjoy doing skulls, sketches. But tattooing as well. I do skulls every now and then. It doesn't happen often. So when it does happen, I try to make the most of it because not a lot of people want skulls on them. It's got different meanings in different areas. So, but I would say generally in skulls, a skull just means, like you said, to me it just means like the end of mankind, of your being, and it states that you've been here as a mortal and you have passed on. So it does have that kind of spiritual or dark side, if you want to call it that, underworld type of touch to it all. So yeah, that's how I see skulls. I love doing skulls. I dig them. I do have a couple of skulls in myself, but the skulls that I do lately, I obviously try to do it as realistic as possible. Portrait style skulls.
I like them. I've got a big one on the shirt. I don't think you can see it, but it's hard to see.
Yes, I do see it. I see it
now. But they've become so big in fashion now.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially like the Day of the Dead, the sugar skulls, and those type of designs. They've become very popular these days. But like with the Day of the Dead, it's basically a celebration of the Day of the Dead. That's why it's called the sugar skull. And I've done a couple of them, and I like working on those projects because you kind of get a good vibe, or you can like pass a good emotion through those type of designs instead of just doing a plain normal skull. So yeah, it's got a bit more. It's a bit more tricky when doing it. So it tells a bigger story.
Yeah. Well, I also want to ask you about, because these tattoos seem to follow a trend of demons versus angels, and what do you think? Why is that? Why is that? Even though I know they're sort of breaking away from that for now, but you sort of mentioned that in your bio as well, that was your fascination with art.
It absolutely was. The thing of like doing demons and angels concepts and coming up with different stories with them is like when I used to sketch them, I could like relate the inner battles I was fighting within myself back then, and doing them, I could see with a lot of people, they could relate to the message I was carrying over with doing like angels or demons or, So it was a very spiritual thing because I saw that catching people's emotions much easier than other designs do. It's a much deeper level of expression of what's going inside of the soul. So yeah, I like kind of confined in doing like demons and angels, and that was my thing for a very long time. That's all that I wanted to do, and and also like eventually I was like, it's time to move on. It's time to evolve from this. You need to settle the battle within, and that's why I kind of moved on from doing those type of sketches and artwork. And I still I can come up with some hectic designs. I mean, some of my top artists are one of the guys' names, tattoo artist. His name is Lorisifa. I think he's there in your side. Paul Booth, I'm sure you know him. Great artist as well. This is some of my top demonic artists, if you want to call it that.
Right. No, I think it's I just think it's cool, but I just always, it just seems to be the trend. Although now tattoos are taking on a whole new, I mean, everybody's
different level.
Yeah, it's just totally different. It's become so much more common, and it's become more of an art than it ever has been in the past. And so when you do a tattoo versus a piece of sketch art, how do you approach your idea differently? Or do you?
Sketch versus skin, I would say, it's like the one end washes the other. I would always say it's a good thing sketching, because I've learned a lot of new techniques by doing like portrait sketches that I apply to my tattooing, and vice versa. By tattooing, I've learned a lot of new techniques that I can use with the sketching. So the one kind of like helps the other one evolve eventually at the end of the day.
Okay. But when you get an idea, let's say, I don't know how you get your ideas, but I know sometimes I'll come up with an idea. It never fails while I'm supposed to be sleeping, and then I can't sleep because I'm afraid I'll forget about my idea. But
I'm the same. I'm exactly the same. Yeah.
So when you get an idea, let's say you get this artistic idea, and it comes to you, how do you interpret whether it'll be a sketch, or is it going to be a tattoo, or will it be both, or?
You know what? It's actually a very fine balance, because it could be both. So, but you see, the thing with tattooing is not everybody is willing to sit for big pieces at once. And also the other thing with tattooing, it does cost a bit of money to get it done. It's a surgical procedure. With sketching, it's a much easier way out, getting your feelings or your idea out on paper. So, it depends. It normally ends up with a sketch first, and then from sketch to tattoo if needs be. But most of the times I think tattoo first, and I think what would look good, and then I put it on the page, and then from there to skin.
Somebody wants, and I know you might, if you need to smoke, Daniel, you go right ahead. I was going to ask. I know. When someone wants a tattoo, whether or not they bring you a picture of something they want, or they just tell you about an idea, do you sketch it out on paper first? Kind of because I don't know the process, because I've never had a tattoo. So there may be some viewers who have never had a tattoo. They're thinking about it, but they don't know what the process is. What do you customarily do when someone comes in and says, I want to get a tattoo? How does that work?
Well, look, the best thing you could do is, you need to have some sort of idea what you want to put on your skin. It's going to be a permanent mark. So, it's for you as an individual. So you need to know kind of what you want, more or less. You don't have to have a design. I mean, you just need to have the basic concept of what you want. Maybe you go to an artist and explain them more or less what direction you want to go into. And, being artistic, you would obviously know what elements to take out of the idea to make it practical, putting it on skin and still making it look good. And so I would say that's one of the main things there.
But do you sketch it out first on paper and then do the tattoo, or?
Well, you see, the way it happens is we do a stencil, carbon stencil first off, the specific picture that they want, or if we come up with a custom design, which is most of the time the case, we come up with a custom design. So we do a carbon stencil, which is basically just outline work, and we do the transfer on the skin, and from there we proceed with the tattooing, doing maybe like shaded lines, and then coming in with a shader to give that realistic effect. In my tattoos, I try to use as less line work as possible, because once you start applying lines to any design, it starts making it unrealistic or cartoonish, if you want to put it in that sense. So that's just a quick route through it. It becomes very complicated and technical and how you want to do it, you know. Depends all on the picture that you want to do as well, and the concept that you decide and agree on. So it becomes technical.
Right.
So that's basic.
Well, when someone comes in also and you have your initial consultation, do you talk to them, because it's very permanent, and I was wondering if do you sit down and talk to them about the pros and cons of it before they jump in, to make sure that this is something they really want to do? And have you ever turned anyone away that you thought that maybe that wasn't what they really wanted to do?
It has happened. Excuse me. It's happened in the past where I've turned people away. Once again, you know, some people just want to get a tattoo for the sake of getting a tattoo, and then 10 years down the line, they want to cover it up or, you know, change it or something like that. So most of the people that I do get, you know, if it's their first tattoo, I do sit with them and I ask them, what does this represent for yourself as a person at the end of the day? Because once there's a connection in the sense what it represents you as a person or where you have been in your life, you know, there would be no need to cover it up or change it unless you're embarrassed about it. But I doubt that would be the case. So most of the people that come in for their first tattoo, we sit and we talk about it. Small tattoos in general doesn't allow me the space to form a picture to tell the story. So small tattoos, I try to avoid them. Okay. And, you know, I see small tattooing as like commercialized tattooing, and I don't see myself as a commercialized artist. You know, I'm not there just to make a quick buck. I'm there to give you something that's valuable and that will represent you as a person in the future. So it becomes a big deal, you know, it becomes very intense and very intimate in a sense. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So you like to do something that actually has more meaning behind it and that's going to tell a story. But I was just curious as if you ever turned anybody away because you felt like maybe they were not really certain that that's something they wanted to do. And, you know, because I think there's probably people that might come in on a whim and then regret it later. And so I guess that's...
No, it's happened before. I think. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's happened before. I mean, it's part of the game, you know. At the end of the day, you're going to get people coming back, or they think they're happy with it, and then they come back and they're not happy with it, or they want to extend it. And it's always the case. Once you get your first one, it doesn't stop. It's an absolute addiction. To me, it is. You know, I just want to get more and more and more. But you know, it's not just about having the tattoo. It's about being able to sit and like sacrifice your being as flesh to be able to earn your ink. You know what I mean? It's a process. It's a spiritual thing. It's been back thousands of years a spiritual thing. It's still a spiritual thing. The only thing is tattoo artists these days, you know, it's become very technical, and it's a very professional form of art. And I respect tattooing absolutely to the fullest. Now, I respect good tattoo artists out there as well, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, how does a person get rid of one?
Well, there's three options, I always say. You can go for laser treatment. That's one of the things, but apparently that's very painful. The second option would be to cover it up or to change it. Or the third option that I always say, I've got a very sharp knife here. I can just slice it out, and that's out. That's out. Third option, I'm just joking. I won't do that. But I mean, if you but that's why it's so important when you sit with someone and and you do a tattoo, you need to make sure and like kind of confining them that they are sure of what they want to do, you know, because at the end of the day, putting a mark on someone's body is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? It's really a big deal. So you need to, you know, it's like the saying, with great power comes great responsibility, and I think it's pretty much like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole cutting up and everything, that doesn't sound like fun.
No, well, I was just joking. I was just kidding about that. But that's just to make sure you guys make sure that you get the right tattoo. Otherwise, it's going to be the cheapest and the quickest.
I think I'd be too chicken to get one. I don't know. Is it painful?
You know what? On certain parts of the body, it is a bit sensitive. Look, a tattoo is going to be sore. I mean, at the end of the day, it's something that's getting pushed in your skin like 100 RPMs a minute. You know what I'm saying? It's something that's going in your skin that wasn't exposed to be there. So it is a bit sensitive up to a certain level. But I think that's what also makes it fun. You know, it's being able to lay down and just accept what's happening to you, because you're basically putting a statement on you from where you've been to where you've evolved to and where you're going to be ending up at the end of the day. So I enjoy the pain. Look, it's sore sometimes, but I enjoy it. I don't know if that's normal, but I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
So you know, some people don't like it, and I get that. But you know, like some people do enjoy it, and if they enjoy it, I enjoy it even more, because then I get to do what I want to do. I have more time spending on my canvas. So,
and you like the pain, so.
You know what? It's hard to explain. It's a very spiritual shift in energy when you get a tattoo. You know, you're changing something about your physical self for the rest of your life. Now people will see you and judge you and treat you. You know, that's why when a lot of people that don't have tattoos, as yourself, I'm not judging, but a lot of people that don't have tattoos, and when they see someone with tattoos, they're like, oh my God, this, you know, he's a murderer, or he's this, or he's that. But you know, when I see someone with don't get me wrong, if I see people without tattoos, I respect that as well, because you know, everybody that I know has got tattoos. So when I see someone that doesn't have tattoos, I'm like, you know what, I respect you for not having a tattoo. And they're like, why? I'm like, just the fact you don't have a tattoo, man. Everybody I know has tattoos. You're like the only person that's still pure. You're still a virgin in skins. So yeah.
Oh God. Well, that makes me a virgin then.
It does. It does. You need to go to your local. You need to go to your local tattoo parlor and get some ink done, please. And if you want to.
I've always wanted to be a virgin again.
Well, now you are, at least. Look at it in the bright side of life. Now you are. That's all good.
I guess if you get one, and when you get older and you wrinkle up, you can just have you know, like the cosmetic surgery will stretch it back out.
But you see, this is the thing. This is the misconception of tattooing. You know what? Tattooing back in the days, you know, tattooing and the equipment for tattooing has evolved so much. You know, at the end of the day, if the impigmentation has been put in your skin and you look after it and you treat it well, like you would treat your whole body, your face, and it will still look very good at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, back in the days, you used to see this big ink on the arm and these thick lines. But that's done with sewing needles that they used to sew army boots with back in the day, so whatever they use there. But the micron and the needles these days are much, much thinner and smaller, so that the penetration in the skin is not as intense, so it doesn't really leave scarring, or, you know, it goes in smooth, and if they look after it properly, it heals up nice. And I mean, if you just take care of your skin in general, it will look good for years to come.
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah.
Depending where you go and what inks you get put into your skin, obviously.
Okay. Well, I have to ask you this, because when you're working on a canvas and, you know, you make a mistake, well, it seems to me it would be easier to fix. But what happens when you're working on, you're doing a tattoo and you made an error? How do you fix that? Is it? Is it hard to do?
You know what? It's something that happens, and I think every tattoo artist out there, if they would admit it does happen. It doesn't matter how good you are. It does happen. It's one of those things. It does happen. But you see, using like the shading and solid coloring, same like with like sketching as well. You know, there was a period that I went through where I just used to use a black big pen to do all my sketching, and that kind of learned me when I do make a mistake, how can I manipulate the picture or the shading to cover up that mistake, but still look good and other people won't notice it. So it does happen with tattooing as well. And once again, up to the shading and solid coloring, it fixes up those problems. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I figured, you know, there must be a way to work through a problem like that. But your sketches are so beautiful, and your tattoo work is great too. It's gorgeous too. I'm just curious, does one or the other inspire you more, or do you just like both equally the same? Or
look, the thing is, I love tattooing. I love sketching and I love tattooing. Sketching is a bit easier. I mean, you've got a medium that's laying still for 10, 12, 15 hours. With skin, it's a different story, so you kind of need to like look for shortcuts to kind of speed up the process if you want to get the full picture, which doesn't always give you the exact same results as a sketch in general. But I would say the one like complements the other one. You know, it's like I say, I love both equally. I wouldn't say I would just be a sketch artist or just a tattoo artist. I do enjoy the tattooing more. As I said, it's more of a challenge. You know, I feel like I haven't evolved in my tattooing as good as I could be. So I'm definitely striving to get there very, very soon. I would like to compete internationally soon. And I don't have a doubt in myself that I would be doing that. But yeah, it just needs a bit more time, a bit more sketching, a bit more practice, and it's going to get there, definitely.
yeah, I noticed there was some kind of event coming up. I forgot where it was now. It wasn't in your country. You had posted it on your...
Yeah, from the Internal Ink. I think Paul Aker and Liz Cook, they attended that convention there. I think I'm also not sure. I think it's up north. It's also not in America. I think it's more like Europe side. I think that's where it was. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we do have some of our own conventions here in South Africa. It's not big. Look, tattooing is not as big as it is in the States and Europe and that. But I would love to be in that type of environment where the technicality of it is so evolved. You know, there's a different game because every block has got like a tattoo shop or art shop in that sense. So you are forced to bring out the best in yourself. So I wish we had that here more, because that would obviously also push me to do much better.
Yeah.
So, but it's getting there. It's getting there. I've got faith.
That's good. Well, what are your future plans as an artist? Do you want to do more of the sketch art, or is there, you know, do you have a definite plan to increase what you're doing already, or?
Well, look, absolutely, the sketches will never fall away. You know, there's a different kind of connection with the sketching. You know, at the end of the day, the sketching it becomes a personal thing, because it's just you and your piece of paper and your pencil, so you get to put your emotions out there the way you want to. It's different with tattooing, but I would definitely like to pursue the tattooing much further. I definitely, and I am. Don't get me wrong, I will. So we are planning a bit of a trip at the end of next year, doing a little bit of a trip from the coast of Africa, you know, just to explore art culture, you know, just to talk to different people there and how they feel, and also try to motivate them in what they do, and kind of give them a bit of hope like you do to us, you know. So we are planning a little trip like that. We just want to see what materializes, and then we're going to take it from there. But definitely, yeah, we're definitely going to carry on with exclusive arts, absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I know you can you need to get your sketch art in some galleries too, because it really is beautiful. You know.
I know. But the thing is, this personal sketches that I do, I don't actually want to sell them because they have so much meaning to me. You know.
Yeah.
So I end up like people make me offers, and I'm like, oh, you know, I like the sketch, and it's one of a kind, and it's like, no, I don't know. I just bypass it. But most of the people like place orders for like portrait sketches or family sketches and so on. But the tattooing has been extremely busy lately, so it hasn't given me a lot of room to do the sketches in a sense. But
Oh yeah.
We're trying to balance everything out, but it's getting there. It's getting there.
Well, good. Well, good. Well, what advice? I guess this is going to be my. Well, no, I've got a couple more questions, but I wanted to know what advice you would give to someone who dreams to become an artist. Doesn't matter what medium they decide to work with. What would you give them to encourage them to get started?
I think I would say is like, depending on what medium they choose to use, a wise thing would be to investigate the market, because at the end of the day, if you're going to choose a road of art in any form, it's not an easy road to take. So you need to investigate the market in a sense, so you can see if it's going to be beneficial to yourself and would you be able to make a living for it. I think that's very important, number one. And I would say number two is also like be sure of what you want to do, and if you feel this is going to work, I would say absolutely believe in yourself and don't take anybody's bullshit and do what you want to do and stand up for what you want to be.
That's good. I agree. That's good. Because you do. You have to, it's all about believing in yourself, not what other people think. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And being an artist, you know, you get a lot of negative response sometimes, which is not good. You know, it's hard to swallow that. And, you know, you get that a lot. And, you know, you just need to kind of like know how to deal with it and just let it go, let that negative energy go. Because if you let it go, it will obviously make space for more positive energy. I mean, you don't need people like that in life. So believe in yourself and do what you feel is right. And if it feels like your purpose, then do it and pursue it. Why not?
Yeah. Well, I talked about this on an interview with a photographer recently, and this very subject. And it's in the industry, no matter what. The industry of the arts is, you have to have a thick skin, because you get all these people who aren't even qualified to judging you, but you just have to let it roll off. You know, you really do, and move on. And because art is a matter of taste, and everybody's is different. So it's you know, I love art. I mean, all types. So, but you went through so much hardship in your life, Daniel, and you've overcome a lot. Is there anything else that you would share about your experience? About how you overcame your challenges and turned it around into something good?
I would say, you know what, doesn't matter how dark the tunnel looks at the end of the day. You know, and I know it's hard to say, it's easier to say it than to do it, but you know, you just need to dig deep, because that will justify you and define you as a person at the end of the day. And you need to just grab hold of yourself and believe in yourself. And you know what, one way or the other, anything is possible. Anything is possible. If you put your mind to it, you can make it work. So I would say at the end of the day, what I've learned is just to like believe in yourself. You know, it's not easy. I know. I mean, we always say, "Oh, things are going fine, and it's okay," and it's not. You know, and that's where you just need to be strong, and you know, you need to bite the bullet and stay true to yourself, your inner self, and you know, follow your gut feeling. At the end of the day, it will lead you in the right direction. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good advice. I do, because I think some of our darkest moments become our greatest conquest when we can find the courage and the strength to learn in that situation, and usually something very magnificent comes out of that. So and it's
Absolutely. I agree with those words 100%. It's exactly like you said it. That is how it is. And yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, you've overcome a lot, and so you're being an inspiration, and I think that's great, and that's why you're here today. And I just want to thank you again. I hate to wrap this up, Daniel, but I want to thank you for being here today. You know, I want you to keep pursuing your art. It's beautiful, and I know you're inspiring other people. And just keep getting out there and doing it. It's been great to have you here today. Is there anything else that you wanted to add?
I would just like to add to that, Tamarah. I would actually like to thank you in return, and the light that you shine upon people like us that just need that bit of extra exposure. You know, it makes a big difference. So I want to give you a big thank you. You know, a big hug if I could.
Okay.
So, you know, keep it up. Keep it up. Thank you so much. It makes a big difference in the spiritual being as well as, like, just, you know. So I just want to say thank you so much. And everybody else out there, I hope you guys are watching this, because this is the lady, and she's the one to talk to if you want to get out there. So please, Tamarah's Closet, get it out there. Thank you, Tamarah.
Oh, thank you so much. Don't hang up now, Daniel, because I'll talk to you before we leave. I'm going to just say goodbye to the viewers. But it's been so great having you here, and I love listening to your accent as well.
Oh no.
And but I want to thank the viewers and for their continued support, and you'll be able to learn more. I'll have links that you can find Daniel on Facebook, and I'll keep updated with them for his other social media sites as well, and I'll have all that in my blog, and it'll be under the YouTube video as well. I'll go in and edit that. And so I want to thank the viewers for their continued support. Please help me to continue celebrate Daniel by sharing the replay of this YouTube video, as well as when I get the blog up, share that and any other of my live interviews, because it helps. It's good to celebrate all these talented people. So you help me help them when you share this and promote it on your page as well. And you can follow tamarahscloset.com to see my other live interviews and to see the replay of this one with Daniel Klerk. And join me on I won't be here next week because it's Thanksgiving, but join me again December 4th, the following Friday. I'm actually going to be interviewing a young actor. He's an actor and a model, John Brotman, and he actually has been in a couple of Columbia pictures. So I'm excited to hear his story. So join us on December 4th. And to your own success, make sure you keep believing in yourself and keep rocking it from Tamarah's Closet. Take care and see you next time.